You've been told that awareness is passive, that noticing changes nothing. But what if the act of looking is not neutral? What if it's catalytic? Physics whispers this in metaphor, the observer effect, where measuring alters the measured. Your life feels heavy because you've been taught to stay distant, to watch your thoughts like static clouds. And yet, every choice, every glance, every breath is already rippling reality. The pain? You feel unseen inside your own story, as if change takes years, rituals, or struggle. The twist? It doesn't. The moment you truly see, you shift the field. Not gradually, instantly. This is not mysticism as escape. This is awareness as ignition. Stay here, and you'll learn why attention isn't passive, how identity reorganizes in a blink, and how one small practice tonight rewires tomorrow. Imagine this. You're sitting quietly, trying to watch your thoughts, because that's what culture told you to do. But instead of peace, you feel stuck. The same loops keep spinning. The same stories repeat. And you wonder, if I'm just watching, why does nothing change? Here's the contrarian truth. Awareness is not passive. It's not a camera in the corner. It's pressure. It's participation. When you observe with presence, you alter the trajectory. Think of a spinning wheel. If you only stare at it, the dizziness continues. But the moment you place your hand against it, even gently, the spin slows, the pattern shifts. Awareness works like that. Noticing isn't just seeing. Noticing is touching. This is where the metaphor of the observer effect comes in. In physics, when particles are measured in the double-slit experiment, they behave differently than when unmeasured. Scientists debate why, but the core image is striking. Observation changes outcomes. I'm not saying your mind is collapsing wave functions. I'm saying the metaphor fits. Noticing is catalytic, not neutral. Now let's turn that into practice. Most of your suffering comes from feeling unseen, sometimes by others, often by yourself. You might journal for hours, write down thoughts, vent your worries. But without presence, it feels hollow. Like tracing shadows, try this instead. Tonight, stand in front of a mirror. Take one slow breath in, release it fully. Then bring one thought into awareness, any thought. Don't judge it, just notice it. And then out loud say, I see you. It seems small. It seems almost silly. But in that naming, you've placed a hand on the wheel. You've altered trajectory. Let's walk through a guided practice right now. Close your eyes if you can. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2. Now release through the mouth for a count of 6. Feel the body soften. Now bring to mind one recurring thought. Don't push it away. Don't label it as good or bad. Simply notice, there you are. Place your hand gently over your chest. Whisper, I see you. Feel the difference between ignoring and naming. Pause here. Let the breath steady again. Inhale, hold, exhale. This is awareness as pressure, not passivity. How do you know if you're still stuck in the old timeline? Here are a few checks. If you notice you're endlessly looping a thought without relief, if your journaling feels empty, like words without weight, if you say I'm stuck more than I notice I feel stuck, if you catch yourself watching thoughts like TV reruns, not touching them. If you notice any of these, here's the pivot. Stop watching, start participating. Place a hand on the wheel. Let me give you a vignette. A woman I'll call Maya journaled daily. She filled notebooks. But she told me, it feels like I'm documenting my pain, not shifting it. I asked her to try one change. Don't just write. Say aloud, I see you. Each time a recurring thought appeared. 2 weeks later, she said, it's different. The thought doesn't trap me anymore. It softens the moment I name it. Her story isn't about journaling. It's about presence. Documentation without participation keeps the loop intact. Naming with intention shifts the loop. And here's the myth we need to dismantle, that awareness means detachment. The common advice is, just watch your thoughts float by. Sounds peaceful. But in practice, it's often hollow. Watching becomes ignoring. Detachment becomes distance. Here's the reframe. Awareness is engagement. Awareness is weight. Awareness is touch. Be willing to step into the role of catalyst, not spectator. So pause with me. Breathe. Name. Intend. Let your awareness press gently, like a hand steadying a wheel, and the suspense lingers here. If observation itself is catalytic, what happens to the one who is doing the observing? What happens when identity shifts from spinning thought to steady hand? That's where we're going next. No call to action here, just curiosity. Because we're only beginning. Tonight, when you stand in front of the mirror, choose one thought, breathe deeply, and speak it out loud. I see you. And notice, does the wheel spin the same way or does it shift? That's the first step. In the next chapter, we'll explore what happens when you discover you are not the thought but the observer behind it. Picture this. A storm is raging overhead. Thunder cracks. Rain pours. You feel drenched, swallowed by weather. Most people believe they are that storm. They say, I am anxious. I am angry. I am tired. Identity collapses into symptom. And when you speak it that way, you become the weather. But here's the shift. You are not the storm. You are the sky holding it. And the sky does not break when rain falls. This is the identity pivot. Awareness isn't about denying thoughts. It's about positioning yourself differently. You move from being the storm to noticing the storm. From collapsing into noise to holding coherence. Try this. Instead of saying, I am anxious, say, I notice anxiety. The words look simple, but the effect is radical. You step out of collapse. You stand in coherence. Think of an orchestra. The conductor doesn't play every violin or trumpet. They hold the baton. Their presence shapes the music. Without them, sound scatters. With them, harmony emerges. That's the observer role. Not detachment. Not numbness. Coherence. So anchor yourself as the one who notices. Let identity be the steady hand, not the scattered noise. Here's where science's metaphor helps again. Think of magnetic fields. Iron filings scatter randomly until a magnet arrives. The filings align. Coherence emerges. The magnet doesn't force each piece. It simply holds a dominant field. Your awareness works the same way. By noticing instead of collapsing, you generate coherence. This is metaphor, not physics instruction. But the image fits. Now let's practice. Close your eyes if you can. Inhale deeply for 4. Hold for 1. Exhale for 6. Feel your body ground. Bring to mind a phrase you often say beginning with I am. Maybe I am stressed. Maybe I am not enough. Pause. Now change it. Whisper. I notice stress. Say, I notice the thought that I'm not enough. Feel the gap open. The storm continues, but you are no longer inside it. You are the sky around it. Stay with that for 3 breaths. Inhale, hold, exhale, anchor into noticing. Diagnostic quick check. How do you know if you're still collapsed into old identity? If you feel every thought defines you instantly. If your mood swings match your mind's weather. Report if language habits default to I am for every passing state. If you cannot find even a millisecond of distance. If that sounds familiar, here's the pivot. Pause, breathe, name. Trade I am for I notice. Let me show you a story. A man named Jordan told me, I am angry. I am always angry. His kids tiptoed around him, his relationship strained. I asked him to try one experiment, replace I am angry with I notice anger. The first time he said it, he laughed. It feels fake, he said, but the second time, something softened. Within weeks, he reported, it's different. When I notice, I still feel it, but I don't act from it. His kids noticed too. They said, Dad, you're calmer. His identity shifted, not by erasing thoughts, but by repositioning himself as the observer. Now let's clear a myth. Many people think being the observer means detachment, like floating above life. They imagine indifference, but detachment is escape. Observation is coherence. To notice is not to leave. It's to stay fully present and steady. So here's the reframe. Observation isn't distance. Observation is anchoring. It's holding the baton. It's letting the field of coherence dominate over scattered notes. Pause here. Take a breath. Place your hand gently on your chest. Say, I notice. Say it again. This is you anchoring. This is you positioning. And here's the suspense. If a single word, shifting I am to I notice and can reorganize your identity, what happens when you learn to tune the entire frequency of your field? Before we go there, let's pause for one moment. If this idea resonates, if you've already whispered I notice while listening, drop those 2 words in the comments below. Just I notice. That's your mid-roll anchor, your signal to this community. And make sure you're subscribed so you can keep practicing with us. Now back to the journey. Your challenge for today. Speak one sentence replacing I am with I notice. Say it aloud. Notice how your body feels when you anchor as observer. It's not just semantics, it's identity in action. Next, we'll explore coherence more deeply. You'll see how awareness isn't just personal. It's frequency, it's resonance, and when you tune that signal, your entire field begins to change. Imagine standing in a crowded room where 3 radios play at once. One blares news, another hums music, a third spits static. You strain to listen, but the clash leaves you drained. That's awareness without coherence. Too many signals, no stability. Most days you live like that. Scrolling while snacking while worrying. Your body holds one rhythm, your mind another, your breath a third. Awareness notices everything, but without coherence it scatters. Energy leaks. Here's the shift. Awareness is not just sight, it's a tuner. You get to choose one signal, match it and anchor until stability returns. Think of thoughts as vibrations. Each one hums at a frequency. Anxiety buzzes quick and jagged. Calm moves slow and steady. Coherence happens when vibrations line up, like instruments tuning together before a concert. Example, your heart rhythm syncing with your breath. At first disjointed, then as you slow the inhale and extend the exhale, the heart begins to mirror the breath. Calm emerges. That's coherence. So here's the practice. Tune. Select the signal you want to amplify. Match, breathe with it, feel with it, act with it. Anchor, repeat until stability holds. Here's another truth. The loudest signal isn't always the dominant one. Panic screams. Self-doubt shouts. But volume is not dominance. The dominant signal is the one you choose to reinforce. A tuning fork doesn't yell, it resonates. And resonance quietly pulls other tones into alignment. So when panic feels loud, anchor into the quieter but truer pulse. It might be your breath. It might be a memory of safety. It might be the steady rhythm of footsteps. Quiet but strong, let's embody this now. Close your eyes if you can. Take one inhale and whisper inwardly, tune. Exhale and whisper, match. Hold the pause gently and whisper, anchor. Again, inhale, tune. Exhale, match. Pause. Anchor. Once more. Inhale, tune. Exhale, match. Pause, anchor. Feel how repetition builds coherence. Not through effort, through rhythm, through presence. Quick diagnostic check. How do you know if you're scattering instead of stabilizing? If you feel pulled in 5 directions at once, if your mind is loud but your body is restless, if decisions feel scrambled, like static between stations, if you mistake volume for truth, what to do now? Pause, breathe, tune, match, anchor. Let coherence reassemble the scattered. Here's a vignette. I once worked with someone named Eli. He said, I can't focus. My head's full of noise. He tried productivity hacks, but nothing stuck. I asked him to practice 3 breaths, tune, match, anchor. He laughed. That's too simple, but he tried. Within a week, he told me, the noise is still there, but it doesn't own me. I pick the signal I want and the rest fades. His energy stopped scattering. He stabilized through coherence. Let's dismantle a myth. People often think the strongest influence is the loudest one, the pushiest thought, the brightest fear. But that's not how fields work. In physics, resonance dominates volume. A quiet but consistent signal can align the whole system. So the reframe is clear. Don't chase the loudest signal. Anchor into the steady one, pause again. 3 breaths. Inhale, tune. Exhale, match. Pause, anchor. That's coherence embodied. And now a question to keep you leaning forward. If you can tune frequency, if awareness can stabilize scattered signals, can that same awareness reshape matter itself? Your body? Your space? That's where we're heading. But before we move, one quick pause. If you're feeling the shift in this practice, if Tune Match Anchor landed for you, tap the like button right now and subscribe if you want a deeper guided version of this coherence practice in a future video. That's how you keep tuning with us, back here. This is your micro challenge, 3 breaths anytime today. Inhale, whisper, tune. Exhale, whisper, match. Pause, whisper, anchor. Repeat until the loud signal softens and the steady one leads. You'll notice it most when life feels noisy. That's your invitation, and it leads directly to the next level. Because if awareness can stabilize frequency, what happens when it begins to reshape the matter of your lived experience? Picture this. You notice a knot in your shoulder. You think it's just tension and try to push it away. But the more you resist, the tighter it grows. What if instead of resisting, you simply observed with curiosity, not judgment? What if the act of noticing itself began to soften it? This is awareness embodied, not theory, not metaphor, embodiment. Claim 1: observation reorganizes body signals. Look at the placebo effect, not as proof of magic but as metaphor. Belief shifts outcome. When the mind perceives care, the body often responds. Your awareness works in the same way. When you notice tension with presence instead of dismissal, the body reorganizes. Example, say your jaw is tight. If you judge it, it clenches harder. But if you place a hand gently over it and whisper, "I see you," the tightness begins to loosen. Curiosity dissolves resistance. So do this instead. When tension rises, pause. Notice with curiosity. Watch it soften. Claim 2. Awareness rearranges environment perception. Imagine two people in the same room. One sees clutter, chaos, distraction. The other sees possibility, light, opportunity. The space hasn't changed. The perception has. Observation shapes reality's texture. Try this. Name the dominant signal in your space. Is it the pile of dishes? The beam of sunlight? The half-finished project? Once named, shift your gaze. Anchor into what you want amplified. Awareness doesn't just see, it selects. Claim 3. Awareness rewires memory loops. A painful memory replayed without presence digs deeper grooves. The brain rehearses pain. But when you bring awareness, something else happens. You notice the loop as a loop, and the groove loosens. Example, the memory of a failed conversation replays at night. Normally you sink in and relive the sting. But if you pause, breathe, and say, "I see the loop," you break the trance. The loop loses power. Awareness rewrites it. So do this instead. Next time a memory loop rises, name it. Say, "I see the loop." Then breathe differently. One inhale slower than usual, one exhale longer than usual. That tiny change interrupts the groove. Let's make this practical. Close your eyes if you can. Scan your body, from crown to toes. Pause when you find one point of tension. Maybe it's your shoulder, maybe your stomach. Place your hand near it, or just bring attention there. Whisper, "I see you softening." Stay for 3 breaths. Inhale gently. Exhale fully. Repeat. Awareness reshapes the signal. Now a quick diagnostic check. Signs you're missing this embodied observer effect. If your body feels like an enemy, not an ally. If your environment drains you more than it feeds you. If old memories replay like chains, not stories. If you think this is just how it is instead of this is what I notice. What to do now? Pause. Breathe. Name. That's your pivot point. Here's a vignette. A woman named Sophia told me, "Every evening I collapse. My apartment feels like a mess. My body aches. My mind replays every mistake." I asked her to try one experiment. Each evening scan body, space, memory. In her body, she whispered, "I see you softening." In her room, she shifted gaze toward the one candle she lit. In her memory, she said, "I see the loop." Weeks later, she told me, "It's different. My apartment hasn't magically cleaned itself. My past hasn't changed, but my experience has. My body eases, my room feels calmer, my memory loosens." She didn't escape her life. She reshaped it through awareness. Let's clear the myth. Many believe awareness is passive, that noticing does nothing. But the reframe is clear. Awareness is catalytic, embodied. It reshapes signals in body, space, memory. Pause here. Take a slow inhale. Place your hand on one point of tension. Whisper, "I see you softening." That's awareness embodied. And here's the suspense. If awareness can reshape your body, your space, and your memory, what happens when we practice together? When coherence isn't just personal but collective. That's where we're heading. You've traveled with me this far. You've seen awareness as catalytic. You've learned to step out of identity collapse. You've tuned frequency, anchored coherence, reshaped body and memory. But here's the truth. None of it matters if it stays as theory. Change doesn't require years. It doesn't even require months. Change requires one day. Just one. Because in 24 hours, micro-shifts compound. Like tuning a guitar string. At first it slips. You tighten. It slips again. You tighten again. Eventually the string holds. The sound stabilizes. Your awareness works the same way. The more you notice, the more stable the field becomes. So here's the practice. Set your 24-hour awareness challenge. For one day, notice 3 moments. That's it. Just 3. When you notice, name it aloud. I see you. I notice. I hear the loop. Say it. Let your voice anchor it. Here's why this works. Transformation sticks when it's shared. Think of a row of metronomes placed on one board. At first, they tick at different times, but give it a minute and they sync. Not through force, but through resonance. Awareness works the same way. When enough of us practice, coherence spreads. Example, studies show group meditation influences collective calm. That's not mystical, it's resonance. So imagine what happens when thousands of us notice, name, and share. The field shifts. So do this instead. Don't keep your noticing private. Post your moment in the comments below, just 3 words. I noticed Eke. It could be small, I noticed my breath. It could be big, I noticed my anger softening. Share it. Your signal helps others sync. Here's the third claim. The future is shaped by those who can anchor awareness now. Culture is noisy, fear is loud. But remember, loudest signal is not dominant signal. The dominant signal is the one we reinforce. If enough of us notice, today together, the cultural field shifts. Example, movements always begin with noticing. One person says, "This is happening." Another echoes. Soon the unseen becomes undeniable. So your noticing isn't trivial. It's the seed of tomorrow. Live as if noticing today plants the field of tomorrow. Each moment you name is a seed. Each seed grows. Now let's embody it together. Look around your space right now. Choose one object, a mug, a lamp, a window. Pause. Breathe in, breathe out. Say aloud, I notice you. Feel the shift. Something ordinary becomes alive through presence. That's practice. That's anchoring. Quick diagnostic check. How do you know if you're slipping back? If you believe change is too big and must take years. If you dismiss small shifts as meaningless. If you notice but never name. If you practice alone and never share. What to do now? Reset. Anchor back into today. One day, one moment, one noticing. Here's a story. A man named Ravi felt overwhelmed. I can't change everything, he said. My stress is too big. I gave him the 24-hour challenge, just 3 noticings. The next day he wrote, I noticed the tension in my hand. I noticed sunlight on the wall. I noticed my son laughing. 3 moments, that's all. A week later he said, it's different. My stress is still here, but I feel stronger. I'm participating again. His life didn't transform overnight, but his awareness did. And that changed everything. Let's dismantle the final myth, that transformation requires monumental effort. No, transformation requires micro-alignment, repeated. It requires noticing, naming, anchoring. That's it. So here's the reframe. Change isn't someday. Change is one day. And that day is today. Pause with me now. Inhale, exhale, whisper, I notice. Let that phrase anchor you. And here's your invitation. For the next 24 hours, notice 3 moments. Speak them aloud. Post at least 1 in the comments below. Share it. Because when you share, you don't just shift your field, you strengthen ours. The story doesn't end here, it begins here. It begins the moment you choose to notice. So step into the 24-hour challenge. Anchor 1 day of noticing. Share 1 moment below. And remember, together we are shaping the dominant signal of tomorrow. This is our field. This is our coherence. This is your beginning.